This next character, Jie, to borrow, is composed of Renzapang, a person, meaning the human act of borrowing, referring to that. The right side is phonetic. It means, it's pronounced si, it means in the past, reference to the sun. So it's just phonetic in this case. Pie, shu, hung, shu, shu, hung, shu, hung, zhe, hung, hung, jie. Ming is bright, also a reference to tomorrow or next year. It is just the sun and the moon together. Shu, hung, zhe, hung, hung, pie, hung, zhe, go, hung, hung. Anciently, it was thought, in fact, they're pretty sure that the was actually a depiction of a window. But over time, it came to be just the sun. Yong. This is thought to be a depiction of an arrow or a cauldron. But either way, it has to do with something you use. Pie, hung, zhe, go, hung, hung, shu, yong. Day. Originally, the original idea of this is to obtain or to get. So this is called shuangrenpang, but originally it meant a foot. And what is now this component was anciently a depiction of a cowrie shell like this. It's been shortened to this. And then below that was a depiction of a hand. So we've seen this before. Cun is a depiction of a hand with a dot marking the wrist as a small part. In this case, it was a depiction of a hand reaching up to obtain the money or the cowrie shell. So a foot and a hand reaching for money to obtain, to get. That might help you remember it. Pie, pie, shu, shu, hung, zhe, hung, 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 shu, go, tian. Day, or de, in our case, day. Chang, a field or a lot. So of course we have the earth radical there, and then the phonetic is this again, which is anciently yang or sunlight. So it shows the rays of sunshine. And the traditional form looks like this. So you see the sun with its rays coming down. It's just phonetic here. Hung, shu, ti, shu, zhe, hung, zhe, go, pie, pie, chang. Jie. Here again we have the ti shou pang, or the hand radical, shou, written as a radical. It's compressed like that. Ti shou pang, ti means to raise up, so the raised up hand to the side. And the right hand side is li, to stand over female. Nu. This on its own in modern Chinese is pronounced qi, and it means a concubine. And it's just phonetic in this case, jie. So the hand radical indicates some human action. It's often used in verbs. Shu, excuse me, I mean hung. Shu go, so that's hung, shu go, ti. Dian, hung, dian, dian, hung. Pie, dian, pie, hung. Jie. Mei is in mei mei. The phonetic component indicates a tree that refers to the top of it. So if you remember bun, you have a tree and you indicate the origins, the roots. So the wei, this is pronounced wei, is the correlative or the opposite of bun, not yet or in the future. It's just phonetic in this case, but it can help you remember. So the radical, pie, dian, pie, hung, 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 shu, go, pie, now, mei. You can also think of this as the empty clothes hanger because the little sister borrowed the clothes from the older sister. Jie, see, the older sister has an empty closet because the little sister borrowed it, and then she didn't hang up the clothes. So from a large family, I know how that goes. The next character, Fei, is a very cool character in some ways. So the traditional character looks like this. Fei, to fly. So the simplified character is just a short form of that. The ancient form of this, or one ancient form of it, if I can remember, looks something like this. It is a depiction of a bird with its wings. Somehow that doesn't quite look right. But here it's wings and then a depiction of the head bent over. And then reduced to that. And then in traditional or simplified characters, we just take the very top part. Hung, ja, wan, go, pie, dian, fei. Wan means to have a good time, to enjoy yourself. Children would say play, but adults don't say play for some reason. The radical on this looks like this, but it's actually a short form of jade, yu. So you're having a good time with, as if you were jade, I suppose. Hung, hung, shu, hung, 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 pie, shu, wan, go. So this is a verb. If you want to say that you had a good time, you'd say that something was fun. That's hao wan. You can't say that something is wan. It has to be hao wan. One of my pet peeves. Wan. Dao, to arrive. This is just simply this character, zhi, which is an arrow sticking in the ground, to arrive, to go to a place specific. Zhi. The right-hand side is li dao pang, the knife radical to the side. So dao, knife, looks like this, our famous cleaver shape. Dao. It's just phonetic for to arrive. Hung, pie, hung, dian, hung, shu, hung, shu, shu go, dao. Pi. Here again we have ti shou pang, the hand radical, indicating you're manipulating something or arranging something. The phonetic on this is fei, typically pronounced fei in modern Chinese, or anciently a depiction of onion shoots, if that's going to help you remember it. It's just phonetic. Pi means to arrange, to manipulate, to manage. Hung, shu go, ti, hung, 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 shu, shu, hung, hung, hung. I have no idea whether that's the right stroke order right now. The next character, dang, is gears. So we have the hand radical again on this, indicating that you manage the gears, you move them. And dang is the phonetic. Dang originally meant to face someone or something. The traditional character has a phonetic on the top, and I believe a depiction of the face on the bottom. That does not look right. It is phonetic on the top and a depiction of the face on the bottom. I'm not sure that's right either. We'll just ignore the traditional character for now. Hung, shu go, ti, shu. You write the center one first. Dian, dian, then you put the sides in. Hung, ja, hung, don't cross through, hung, dang. Kai, the traditional form of this character depicts a doorway, and this was anciently two hands reaching up to remove the bolt on the door. But the doorway is taken away, so now you just have the bolt and the two hands. Hung, hung, pie, shu. Kai. Originally it meant to open a door, but it can mean to drive, to start, to clean something, to clear it up like water. Kai shui. Kai lu, to clear the way. So kai has a lot of different meanings. Ing, this is a depiction anciently, or a depiction of an eagle under the shelter. So like falconry, you had your shelter here. We've seen that again. This is a shelter or a cave or hillside with the dot on top. It is usually more closely associated with a home or a shelter. And then you had the component in here that indicated the bird, an eagle or a falcon. So by extension, well, I think it's just phonetic. It's just a phonetic component. Simplified to this: dian, hung, pie, shu, shu, pie, hung. Notice when you do this, these two strokes go this way, and then the third goes the other way in. Gai. We have the speech radical again, short form of this, ancient depiction of a tongue, speech, expression, having to do with things you should do. And then the phonetic, we've seen this once before, is high, accounting character, also associated with pig. So gai, what you should say to your pig. Or like Charlotte's Web, Charlotte ought to talk to Wilbur. Guy should. All right, there we go. Dien, hung, ja, go, dien, hung, pie dien, pie, dien. T. This is two basic components. They're not too challenging. We've got sure on the right side. Sure in traditional character, on the left side, I mean. In traditional character, ancient Chinese, this meant this, or to be, or real. It actually didn't mean to be. It meant this, or real, or actual. The right-hand side is a depiction of a head, or by extension, a person. But in this case, this is the traditional form. In this case, it is the head of a topic or a point of a question. So to write this, we go shu, hung, ja, hung, 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 shu, hung, pie, and then a long na. And then we write over here, hung, pie, shu, hung, ja, pie, dien. T. By is just a dot on the sun. Dien, shu, hung, ja, hung, hung, by. So the sun is this. If you put a mark on it, it indicates you're talking about the color of the sun and not the sun itself. This character, sa, is thought to be a depiction of a person in a kneeling form, something like that in modern Chinese, which has been eventually distorted into this shape. And then the person is squeezed up into the top. So by extension, the expression of someone's face, so color, appearance, form. You start with the pie, hung, pie, hung, ja, shu, hung, shu, one, go, sa, color. Ting. So ren sapang are kind of most common generic radical. The left side depicts a pavilion. Ting. And it somewhat resembles other characters having to do with architectural structures. Like, for example, Jing. And we've seen this as the character for the radical, the right ear component. Also, Gao, we haven't learned this one yet, but we will shortly. Gao is tall or high. They all sort of depict tall structures like those for a gate tower. There's a city gate. This would have the drum in it. Actually, there'd be a roof on this like this, and the drum tower would be in here. So you can sort of see a pavilion idea in there if you really try. This part, this bottom part, is nail, pronounced ding, and that is perhaps phonetic to the whole thing also. Ren, pie, shu, dien, hung, shu, hung, zhe, hung, dian, hung, go, hung, shu, go, ting, stop. Xi, the second component in xuexi, is a depiction of feathers. So feathers, yu, or downy feathers, is written like this. So one of them is just feathers. So it's a reference to the way small birds learn. Xi, by itself it means to practice. So xuexi actually means to learn something and then to rehearse it, to review it, to practice. Lian. Here again we have the silk radical in traditional characters written like this. Depiction of the ancient form of the silk skein threads wrapped together. The right hand side looks like this. It's a little bit like the top of cha, but the bottom part crosses over here and then comes down like that, and then you have the two dots. This is the simplification of this traditional form. Lian. May have missed a stroke here, I am embarrassed to say. So it has to do with, I didn't miss a stroke. It has to do with practicing your developing strands of connection of habits. So, pie, zhe, pie, ti, hung, pie, zhe, hung, zhe, go. Remember that crosses over dian, dian, dian. Now this next one is a cool one. It is a depiction of a bear. So here you have the head, and there is the body, which is also flesh. Just happens to work out this way this time. And then these two components indicate the claws of the bear. So to distinguish the two different uses, because this was borrowed for ability because of the strong ability of bears and also because it sounded the same. So to make the difference, they put 4 legs on the bottom of the character for bear, which is now xiong. So neng, you have the head, pie, zhe, dian, the body, pie, hung, zhe, go, hung, hung, and then the claws. Pie, shu, go, pie, shu, go, shu, one. Jing. The phonetic on this is jing, which is a well. It's a depiction of a well because the logs would be crossed over each other like a log cabin, one over the other, down into the earth where the water was. So a bird's eye view would show this. And it's pronounced jing, so it's phonetic in this case. And then we have the zhou zipang, the motion or movement radical, zhou, to walk. So this is, it somewhat resembles it, but it doesn't derive from zhou, just so you know. It's called zhou zipang, but it is not identical. But it does have to do with motion, so to enter something. Hung, hung, pie, hung, dian, hung, zhe, na, Jean. And boo. Boo is anciently a depiction of 2 feet, one on top of the other, or one upside down, one upwards, one upside down. And I won't try to write that, I'll just show you in the character. So we start off with shoe, hung, shoe, hung, shoe, pie, pie. So the bottom components were altered to fit in with brushstroke conventions. End of lesson 12.